plenty of space in here. In fact, they said 6+ people should be able to fit in here just fine, again, because they were able to push those wheels out to the corners and really emphasize interior space on this. You may be wondering, what is that Mac seat actually like? And I will show you. Pulling the handle right here and sliding the seat forward, you can see I didn't have it all that far back, but that right there is what Tucker is dealing with a seat all the way back. Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is a 2024 Fiat 500e, the only Fiat on sale in America today. Yes, Fiat, the best-selling brand in the Stellantis constellation of brands, only has one model here on sale in the States. It is their smallest model. It is an electric-only model, and there are quite a few shortcomings. With the CEO of Stellantis resigning yesterday as I record this, is this going to be the only Fiat on sale in the US for long? And what's this thing like to live with for a week, not in LA or New York? All that and more. Stay tuned. This may not be a big vehicle, and I do thank Fiat for bringing it to me for a full week's worth of testing, but there's a lot to unpack in this video with this brand, with this car, with the parent company Stellantis. In just the time that we've had this vehicle, the CEO of Stellantis, Carlos Tavares, has resigned at nearly a full year ahead of schedule, kind of leaving the brand in flux. He and the board of directors did not get along. This is a brand that up until very recently made fire-breathing Hellcat-powered V8 loud vehicles through Dodge and Ram, and they've steadily been phasing those out. In fact, the vehicle we had right before this was the 392-powered Jeep Wrangler, and then they bring us this. Very interesting, very diverse vehicle lineup, but this was supposed to be the future of the brand. This is what the 124-year-old company is calling their little Trojan mouse into the US market. This is one of their best-selling vehicles, and Fiat is the best-selling of the Stellantis family of brands globally. So it's very interesting that this, their smallest, most compromised vehicle, is what they decided to bring here versus something like that Grand Panda that actually looks really cool and I think would translate very well to the US market outside of perhaps LA and New York, where I really think they are targeting to sell a lot of these here stateside. Underneath the hood, which is powered by gas struts, which is not something I was expecting when I got this, we get a single electric motor powering the front wheels, and we get a small, minuscule, about half the size of what we're used to seeing, 42 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion nickel manganese cobalt battery powering that electric front motor, which makes 117 horsepower, 162 pound-feet of torque, and does allow this to top out at 94 miles per hour top speed. So yeah, it's been fun. We'll get into that when we drive it here shortly. I will note, while we've got the hood up, we do have some electrical components underneath the hood here, because yes, we do have some lighting on the hood itself, which translates to the styling as we close the hood. Yes, they call this their Trojan mouse. It is the vehicle that is set to bring Fiat roaring back to the States, though I don't really know that this is it. The brand has tried a lot of things over the past few years, but bringing us their global cars 4 years after they've been introduced globally seems a bit odd. Yes, the last Fiat 500 that we got was 4 years delayed from its global counterparts, and then this was introduced in 2020 globally, but 2024 here stateside. So this really is a day late and a dollar short. Being a small battery, a 42 kilowatt-hour battery, we only see up to 149 miles of all-electric range, which does not really translate stateside, and we'll obviously talk more about its interior space and size and how it fits stateside in a little bit. But it is a fun, very emotive vehicle design and style. There is a lot to like for the style of this minuscule little vehicle. It has turned a lot of heads while we've had it. The brand is choosing to do a very unique drop strategy, much like, well, fashion. They are dropping different colorways as different trims as time progresses. So the most affordable 500 or 500 is the inspired, the product red version that, you guessed it, only comes in red. Then we have this rose gold, this pink inspired by beauty. There's a black inspired by music. And while at the LA Auto Show, they unveiled the Giorgio Armani version that comes in two different colorways, a green and a grayish. And then there is also the inspired by LA, which is silver. So there is a lot of fun going on with this vehicle. There are different trims, different personalities, and yes, there is a lot of personality here on this one. I noted the lights on the hood, the little eyebrows to the LED headlights, LED running lights, LED turn signals, LED all the things on this, but it is a small vehicle, a very small vehicle, the smallest that you can buy here stateside currently, and well, cute is the word that comes to mind most often. I do like all the modern LED lighting elements. It does harken back to the original 500 and the prior generation that was gas powered. I will go ahead and say that, but this EV it definitely lets you know it's an EV, but there are some benefits to that. Before we get too far into it though, I do want to call out there are a lot of elements to remind you that this is an Italian car and they almost beat you over the head with it. As we go through this, you'll see exactly what I mean. Pulling around to the 3/4 view, you can see it is a minuscule vehicle. It's a 2+2, and we'll talk more about that on the inside. Coming down to the wheels, I was actually surprised. These are 17-inch wheels wrapped in Pirelli rubber, which I really was not expecting. A somewhat performance all-season tire on these. These are 205/45 or 17-inch Pirelli Cinturato P7 all-season tires at all four corners. Certain trims, colorways, variants, drops do get summer-only tires, but I think all seasons are definitely the way to go. As we pull around to the side of this, you can see just how minuscule and mouse-like this vehicle really is, but the EV architecture did afford it a bigger interior than you would expect because they were able to push those wheels all the way out to the edges. Look at that rear overhang. As you're backing over things, the wheels are actually the first thing to come in contact with nearly anything if you're backing up. This has been an absolute pleasure to drive with our 13-degree incline driveway. I don't have to worry about scraping the nose, the tail, anything on this. It goes up very nicely and keeps that very familiar silhouette that we are accustomed to with the 500, the 500. You can see we get La Prima 500, and the E is baked into the 0 on 500 there. Very cool look, very nice, but again, cutesy is the word I would describe it most with. As we pull around to the back, much like the front, all LED lighting back here in the back. And you can see, yes, I do have some bags to show you just how much space is inside this one. We get that 500e logo right here with that contrasting teal that I think works very well with the rose gold. We get the updated, cleaned up Fiat logo back here. No badge per se, it is just the word mark. And we get the requisite required rear view camera or backup camera on this one. Fully manual hatch with an electronic release, but that is really to be expected in what is supposed to be an affordable people's car. This really is supposed to be the electric car for the masses globally. And again, we'll talk more about that as we're driving because 149 total miles of electric range does seem to be falling just a bit short. As we get back to the back, Fiat claims a 7.51 cubic foot cargo area, but you can see here we do have a 50-50 split bench rear seat, but when it folds down, it does not fold down flat, and so therefore we do not, and I could not find anywhere a full, with the seats folded, number on just how much cargo space is totally back here. So just know that you get over 5.5 cubic feet of space if you fold those seats down, but I don't know the exact numbers, and again, you don't get a flat load floor. You can see I do have some of my gear already back here, but underneath this trifold cover back here, we do have our 110 charge plug back here, and a fix-a-flat kit for if we, well, had a flat, but a nice little soft cargo back here. But I will go ahead and grab my backpack. You can see just how well a backpack fits in here, stands upright, still plenty of space. And then my Ridge carry-on, which fits most carry-ons globally and definitely here stateside. You can see that fits in there very nicely, though I doubt you're getting 2 of those in there. So very tight space and proportions back here, but it is enough for a couple to take a short weekend getaway, I suppose. And then we get the smallest little hard cover here to keep prying eyes from seeing your cargo when you pull this strap to close the rear cargo hatch. Yes, see, now I can't see inside there. Very interesting that you get just this teeny tiny flap here. As it is open, you can see it opens up nice and wide. I don't have any problems at 5'10", and it's pretty easy to close down. The gas struts aren't too heavy. It closes very nicely, in fact. As we move down back here, now that my bags are out of the way, you can see all electric means no exhaust. Very cleaned up, tidy rear proportions back here. And this actually got a fairly wide stance for how narrow or small, tight the cargo compartment, the interior of the vehicle is. And well, let's go ahead and cut to talking about that interior space. Before we climb in this one, I did want to show you the key. It's a little bit chunky, especially for such a small, cute little car. It is a proximity key, and you get lock, unlock, your hatch release, and a panic button. No remote start on this one. We've got that Cinquecento 500e logo back here on the back of it, but as I mentioned, it is a proximity key, so you can keep it in your pocket, your purse, wherever you keep your key, and just walk up to the vehicle. They are fully electric latches on both doors and the rear hatch, and you can lock it by pushing that button right there, and then just open the vehicle. No like actual physical clunk to lock or unlock the vehicle, because again, fully electric latches on this, so it really just enables or disables the electronic latches. As we open it up, this is the only interior on the Inspired by Beauty, and Holly weighed in and gave some of her thoughts that we'll talk about when we move inside. But you can see we get this cream interior that does look nice with the rose gold exterior. Lots of black, lots of gray in this one though. You can see we're starting to get some wear here on the slightly padded armrests on the door. You can see fully electric door latches here on the inside, so you push that button to open and close it. But we get some more Italian callouts here. You can see we've got the original and made in Torino here in the door pulls. There were also some callouts on the taillights. You can see we get physical switches for both windows here, mirror controls right there, a physical door release if we needed it, but this really has worked for us the entire time. But yeah, getting a little bit of color fade, color wear here on this slightly padded armrest. Fully manual seats here, so we have manual recline, manual slide, manual everything, and they call these eco leather. So I can tell you from the feel of them, they're either really inexpensive real leather, or they are a pleather so to speak. And again, you can see some of that color fading, color wear from blue jeans and the like. You can especially see it down here on the seat bottom. You can see we have Fiat stitched repeating in the seat back and the seat bottom. We have a latch here to climb into the back seat, adjustable headrest, but again, all manual adjustments here on this one. You get that 500 logo here, get the 500 logo on the steering wheel, and there is one more once we climb inside, back here behind the screen on the dashboard. And as we sit in here, it is a tidy little cabin for us. There is engine start button here. It is the same style button as the door latches. We'll go ahead and push it and see what happens. Well, not a lot. There are occasions where it actually does play music. It'll do that actually when I turn it on, because for some reason it hasn't turned on completely. So we've had that problem quite a few times. It doesn't actually turn on. Like, I think you have to hold it for just a little bit for the vehicle to actually turn on, but you can see it says run down here on the 7-inch digital screen here. No head-up display, very simple gauges. You can do a lot of different customization or changing of the screens here. You've got your settings, some information, stored messages. You can have your nav displayed up here. You can have your music displayed up here. You can have different vehicle information displayed, your ADAS driver assistance stuff, and then some of your fuel economy. You can see we have driven this one 81 miles since resetting, and we've averaged 17 miles per hour. So a lot of city driving in this. I don't love how there is no standard to how we report efficiency in electric vehicles. Some report MPGe, some report miles per kilowatt hour, some report kilowatt hours per mile. I'll put some of that math on the screen for you, but the EPA does estimate this at 3.225 miles per kilowatt hour, and that is about what we're getting, what we're seeing. It's really hard to tell without rounding on that one. But yes, a few more different screens here, but basic information here in front of you. And you can see we're at 68% charge, 89 miles of range at 100. The most you will see is an EPA estimated 149 miles of range. Perhaps the biggest shortcoming of that 42 kilowatt hour battery, again, going to the minuscule size of the entire vehicle. As we pull out, you can see we get the cream and gray two-tone steering wheel, which is a elegant, nice touch. You can see all of our controls up here on the front. We have volume and tuning on the backside, as you would expect in a Stellantis product, but pretty easy to control here. You can see we do have Fiat driver assistance technology, adaptive cruise control, basically all baked in right here. It's fairly straightforward, no major complaints or notes there. We do have fog lights on this one, a few different buttons right here, including your brightness controls, and interestingly enough, a poverty blink right here. So I don't know what models get an additional button here, or if this is just part sharing with other vehicles in the Stellantis family of brands. I do like that they aren't just going plain with the dash, but this fake basket weave here, when you touch it, it leaves a little bit to be desired. It does go across the entire dash, but does give some visual interest, and it is wrapped with this painted plastic right here. And Holly's thoughts that she will get into in our family review, which drops later this week, is she really would love to have seen the rose gold brought here on the inside. The only place you can see the rose gold is on your rear view mirrors or back here at the back of the doors. So it's not really a design choice to see rose gold in here. It's just how the vehicle is built, and that is actual really big miss. So perhaps you can pull this off and paint it yourself, but gray plastic, it's lacking. We do get a 10.25-inch UConnect 5 system right here that, much like every other Stellantis UConnect system, works well. Not much to really go into on this one. We do have a single zone automatic climate control because the vehicle really isn't big enough for a dual zone. It would just be wasted time, wasted space. But you can see here on comfort, We do have heated front seats, but it is single level heated front seats. So it's either on or off. No varying degrees of heat there on that. This stuff does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and a Qi wireless charger right here with the skyline of Torino, Italy called out again right here. I will say this wireless charger holds my iPhone 16 Pro Max very well. I haven't noticed it overheating my phone, and there is our blue light letting us know it is in fact charging. It's actually been one of the better wireless chargers. I like that it's right here in front of me. It doesn't take up a lot of space. We get push button controls for putting the vehicle into motion. We get a USB-A interface for the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but we also get USB-C down here and another USB-A. So right here up front, we have 3 USB ports, which is actually quite a bit for just how many people are expected to ride in this. We get a little bit of storage here in the armrest, most notably down here, open storage, and then again, those power ports I talked about. We do get a cigarette lighter style power port right there. Multiple different drive modes in this. We have range, Sherpa, which like shuts everything off, and then normal mode. We'll go ahead and put it back in normal because that's what we'll start driving it. But when you put it back in normal, the AC does not turn back on. When you do turn the AC on, you actually get a little warning. Of course, it's not going to do it while I'm filming, but generally it warns me that, hey, you turn the AC on, that's going to affect your range. Just know that. We do get a little bit of hidden storage with a fold down single cup holder right here. In the front of the center console, electronic parking brake, volume controls right here, a sliding armrest that is already showing signs of wear, again with the cream color. Then we get some hidden storage in the center console right here, but really like the sliding armrest. And then overall room, I'm 5'10", I'm your typical average American male. I can sit in here very comfortably, front seat, back seat, plenty of headroom, plenty of space in here. In fact, they said 6+ people should be able to fit in here just fine, again because they were able to push those wheels out to the corners and really emphasize interior space on this. But you may be wondering, what is that back seat actually like? And I will show you by climbing out, pulling the handle right here, and sliding the seat forward. You can see I didn't have it all that far back, but that right there is what Tucker is dealing with a seat all the way back. So you can see just the varying degrees of space here in the Cinquecento, the 500e, but I'm gonna climb in and sit my booty down on the rear seat back here, lift the headrest so it is out of my back. And yeah, I have no place for my head. This is very much for children or people shorter than 5'10", because my head literally has no place to go back here. And we have a single cup holder back here, a little bit of storage right there, but no real amenities back here either. I guess I do have an armrest and a speaker. I have a decent sized window back here, but like I said, no place to really put my head, and the seat does not recline, it doesn't move, it doesn't do anything to give me more space. And then depending on where the front seat is, this is the front seat all the way up. I have decent space back here, but again, the real problem is headroom. So this really is more of a 2-person weekend getaway vehicle, and let's talk about how it drives. Before we get moving in this one, I do want to say a huge thank you to Racebox for providing me with their Racebox race timer that not only will do the 0 to 60 tests here in this EV, but can also do lap timing and various other fun metrics, all based on this GPS timer. So if you want to get one for yourself, save a little bit of cash here at the holidays, and help our channel out in the process, all the information is in the description down below. But here we are in the Cinquecento, this rose gold EV, and I'll go ahead and put it in drive. And as with all EVs, it is just seamless, effortless power. It is very nice. And with the long wheelbase of an EV, it does help smooth out some of the bumpiness that you would get otherwise in a small city vehicle like this one is. But here we are, a little bit of straight stretch of road in front of us. I'm gonna fully mash the brake pedal as hard as I can, fully mash the accelerator, drop the brake, and I mean, it's fine. It's a no fanfare or anything like that, but 7.5 seconds, 0 to 60, 7.54. It's nothing to sneeze at for what is a small city runabout vehicle. This really is meant for city traffic and really isn't meant to see 60 miles an hour that much. As I mentioned earlier, it is limited to 94 miles of top speed. So this really is not a race car. You would not mistake this for the now defunct Abarth version. There is no Scorpion anywhere on this, except for maybe on the Pirelli tires, even though they're Pirelli Scorpions. I don't know, but yes, this is not a performance EV by any stretch of the matter, but that is not going to stop me from taking it on my favorite driving road. Before we get into all that, though, I do want to talk about the 3 different driving modes. I already told you about Sherpa. It shuts off anything that is drawing additional power to really help extend the range so that you really can get all 149 miles of estimated range out of this one. But in range mode, it turns on one pedal driving so that you can stop and go just by modulating that right pedal. Can't really call it the throttle because there is no throttle. It's an EV. And for the most part, I have found that to be rather nice, though in stop and go traffic, it can be a little aggressive on the stopping power, so it isn't my favorite, and it doesn't come to an abrupt stop either. There's a learning curve with range mode, I will say that. There is a learning curve, and I don't know that I've mastered it yet, but it's on par with a lot of other one pedals. You can't adjust it. There are no paddles to adjust it like what we get on Hyundai products. I really like Hyundai EVs. I think they really are the benchmark for mainstream EVs, and we don't get that here, but that's okay. It works well enough that for the most part, I leave it in range and only turn it into normal mode when I'm doing a lot of like finessing, trying to ease into a tight parking spot, which in this vehicle, there really aren't such a thing as tight parking spots, but maybe just trying to finesse where I'm putting it more than anything. But now as I am out on an open back road here in East Texas, I can talk about what this is like to drive. First, we'll talk about, yes, I am on highly textured pavement and I'm getting some road noise in here. That is to be expected. This isn't only about range, this is also about the price efficiency. So we don't have a lot of weight, we don't have a lot of sound deadening, we don't have a lot of additional materials, and therefore we don't have a lot of sound separation, isolation from the road around us, though this is highly textured pavement. I will say though, I have been in much worse vehicles in here where I really have to shout to even talk to somebody right next to me. But I would say this, again, is completely livable for what the vehicle is designed for. It is a city runabout car that really is targeted at New York, LA, downtown city centers that really parking is an issue, space is an issue. The fact that there's an inspired by LA version of this really should tell you where they are marketing and putting a lot of their efforts into selling these vehicles. It doesn't make a lot of sense here in East Texas where space is not an issue. Woo, woo. Range is also something where this vehicle doesn't really lend itself to being the best, because at 149 miles of range, I really can't get a whole lot of places. In fact, Dallas is a good 100 miles from here, but at Texas highway speeds, I would really be pushing the total range of this battery because we typically see around 85% of estimated range translate into real world range on trips like that. So I would definitely be charging when I got to Dallas, and then I would be eking it back because DC fast charging really slows you to a trickle charge when you get to 80%, which is what I would be doing when in Dallas to try and get myself back. So this really doesn't work for us for a Dallas and back trip either. And yeah, this is a city car. This is a city runabout car. This is a do your errands type of vehicle. And it would work for us as a regular driver here in East Texas as long as we didn't have to go anywhere. It fits our family of 3 well enough. It is efficient enough. It has enough space in it. It has enough to get us around, but with a $37,000 window sticker, then you start getting into, yeah, but what else could I get for that price? We've tested a lot of vehicles with more range, more amenities, more for that same sticker price. So going back to what I said at the very beginning, this kind of is a day late and a dollar short. Launched globally in 2000, but here in the States for 2024, this does not translate completely to being the best EV in 2024. I think this would be a stellar compliance vehicle 10 years ago in 2014. Here in 2024, you're making a lot of sacrifices, but Fiat is banking on the style, the personality, the unique product drops of the inspired by LA, the inspired by music, the Giorgio Armani version, all really being the selling factors of this, and it being an extension of your personality and your persona more than something you can truly live with day in and day out. I will say it has been fairly fun to toss around in corners. It's small size, it's extended wheelbase. The wheels at the corner mean that putting it where I want it has been fairly easy, though a lot is being asked of those front tires. We've got that instantaneous torque, but they are also doing all the steering work for us too. So there are a lot of factors and a lot of things being asked of those front all-season tires that perhaps are putting a damper on the overall performance of this vehicle. All right, we are going to do 2 more 0 to 60 runs in this one. We're going slightly uphill now. We'll turn around and come slightly downhill for the last. But it is straight, smooth pavement. We'll come to a complete stop with the 1-pedal driving. It does auto hold for me, but we will go ahead and put us back in normal. Firm on the brake, firm on the accelerator, drop the brake, and we are off. Again, not a lot of fanfare, but we do have that instantaneous torque. We set off in motion, and 8.29 seconds there. Again, going slightly uphill. The tires have warmed up a little with that little bit of a drive, but let's turn around now and see what this can do in the other direction, slightly downhill, and kind of average all 3 of our results together. All right, so here we go, coming to a full stop once more. Again, slightly downhill. This should be our best 0 to 60. Don't really have any level ground on my normal test route. Firm on the brake, firm on the accelerator, drop the brake, and we are off. Yeah, seeing typical numbers in this one, 7.81. So yeah, 7.5. That first run was our best run of the 3. And I would say for what this vehicle is, what it's designed to do, which is commute, that is plenty. It works. It's plenty quick. It feels sprite and peppy and fun to drive. And now as I am getting back on to the twisties, I can tell you, yes, it's a point and squirt little vehicle, and those Pirellis are doing a good job of maintaining my intended direction, though really not pushing this too far. Because again, public roads and here around the lakes in East Texas, and especially here in the fall, I do have to watch out for deer, because I would not want to meet a deer with this. There is not a lot of vehicle to save me from said deer if I were to meet up with one, unfortunately. And that really does go into some of the safety stuff built into this. I will put full details down in the video description, but we have your typical driver assistance stuff. We have traffic sign recognition, we have blind spot monitors, we have parking sensors, we've got that rear backup camera, but no 360 cameras on this. And then overall visibility is actually fairly good in this because they have made the windows very large. Pretty easy to see out, though the back window is slightly compromised by rear headrests and the fact that Tucker's car seat is back there. So yes, you are giving up a little bit of extra sheet metal all the way around you for crumple zones and the like for that, but you are getting a nice compact little vehicle to point and squirt and shoot wherever you want it to go. So yeah, it's fun. It's exciting for a commuter vehicle, I will say that, and that instantaneous torque is perhaps the most fun part about this. Not a lot of suspension travel in this. You already saw just how a few bumps definitely upset it when it got to floating up and over the bumps, but I wouldn't say the ride is harsh or anything like that. But that does conclude my time here with this cute pink inspired by beauty of 500e from Fiat. If you want to see more from us, including our family review where we installed Tucker's child safety seat in the back, where Holly gives you her thoughts and input, Tucker gives you his thoughts and input, be sure and hit that subscribe button down below, ring the bell so you are notified when future videos drop from us. Find us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it, everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, in the only Fiat you can buy in the United States as of this recording in 2024, we'll wait to see what happens with the resignation of the CEO of Stellantis. But until next time, gearheads, bye.